All right, so this is number 32 out of the review for the final. And it says a researcher claims that at least 31% of adults of a certain country think that their taxes will be audited. Okay. In a random sample of 800 adults in a country in a recent year, 26% say they are concerned that their taxes will be audited. At alpha is 0.10. Is there enough evidence to reject the center's claim? Okay, so let's take a look here. The first part says at least 31%, right? So what does that mean when it says at least 31%? It's telling me that my percent is going to be greater than or equal to 0.31, right? So remember, y'all, this here is my claim. And because this part here has my greater than, this is going to be my null hypothesis. So my alternate hypothesis is going to say P is less than 0.31. Okay, so let's see if we can answer the question. At least, so for part A, at least 31%. So I'm going to choose part B here, right? So let me come back over here, and I'm going to put B, and I'm going to put 31%. So 31. Okay, enter that in, and we got it. Okay, and then we said, what was our null? And so remember what we said here was, and I'll tell you what, I'll just take a quick screenshot again and enter that in over here. So here, actually I have it written, so we'll just come back and put it here. So my null is P is greater than or equal to 0.31, and my HA is P is smaller than 0.31, okay? So when I come back to my problem, my null is greater than or equal to 0.31. So right here, I'm going to put in a 0.31, 31, and my alternate is that it's less than 0.31, and we're going to check our answer, and of course we got it. Okay, so now we're going to do the next part. We're going to find our critical values and identify our rejection regions. Okay, so let's do that. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to write down some pieces of information that we have here. So let's see. My N is 800. My P hat is a 0.26. Let's see. And my alpha is equal to 0.10. And so we're trying to figure out is this a left tail, right tail, or two tail test, right? So remember, we always got to look at the HA. The HA is telling me this is going to be a left tail test, right? And so my alpha is 0.10, right? That's telling me that the area in here is 0.10. Guys, just a reminder, that's my rejection region. This is my fail to reject region, okay? So we want to find this particular value. So the way we're going to do that on our calculator, we're just going to go inverse norm of 0.10, okay? So let's take our calculator, let me clear this out. Oops. Second vars, inverse norm, 0.10. And I'm coming up with a negative 1.28. So right here, negative 1.28. Let's chickadee check, make sure it's working out. So negative 1.28, okay? And we got that part right. Okay, so now remember what we said. If I come back and I look at my picture, if this is negative 1.28 right here, it's when Z is smaller than that, right? That's going to be my rejection region. So when Z is smaller than negative 1.28, that's going to be my rejection area, okay? Okay, now we want to find our standardized test statistic. So guys, in dealing with proportions, when we're finding our standardized test statistic, there's a slightly different formula that we're going to use, okay? So the formula we're going to use, I'm actually going to pull it up for y'all right here, is because I saved it a minute ago. Here we go. Okay, this is my formula, okay? So let's see if we can do this. So it's P hat minus P divided by the square root of PQ over N. So Z equals P hat minus P divided by the square root of PQ over N. Okay, so we said that our P value was a 0.31. Our P hat was a 0.26. okay? So right here, I'm going to write 0.26 minus 0.31 divided by the square root of PQ. So if P is 0.31, then Q is going to be 0.69, right? Because it's 1 minus P. That's how I find the value of Q. So if I take $1 and I take away 31 cents, I'm still left with 69 cents, right? And then our N is 800, okay? So y'all, I'm going to enter this into my calculator exactly as I see it. So let's clear this out. Parentheses 0.26 minus 0.31 divided by a big old square root of 0.31 times 0.69, all divided by 800. All that's inside my square root, right? Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm coming up with a negative 3.06. So my z-value, negative 3.06, okay? So let's enter that number in right here, negative 3.06, and we got it, okay? And now we got to figure out reject, fail to reject. Oh, let's go back and look at our picture that we had before. So remember, we came up with a negative 3.06. That's way over here, right? So we're falling in our rejection region. So we're going to say we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, now I got to answer the next piece, right? So I want to go back and look at what was my claim. Okay, so let's come back. Oops, maybe right here. Next one. Here we go. So our claim happened to be our null hypothesis, right? Our claim was our null, and we're rejecting our null. Right, so the claim was the HO, we're rejecting it. We're going to say there is enough evidence to reject the claim. So I'm going to come back over here. There is enough evidence to reject the claim. And I'm going to check my answer. And of course, we got it right.